Four ordinary guys with extraordinary ideas for Disney parks. This is Main Street Musings,
the experimental podcast of tomorrow.
That's right, welcome back to Main Street Musings. My name is Jake. I will be up front today as we embark on our journey. The current temperature in Orlando is 85 degrees, and Orlando is on Eastern Daylight Time, so make sure to set your watches accordingly. That person you walked past who was smugly waving at you as you walked through the first class cabin was, in fact, Tanner.
Hey there.
Please make sure that your tray tables are up and your seat is in the full upright position, Brock.
I refuse.
And if you look out the window to the right, you will see the mighty and majestic Eric.
Hello.
What'd you guys think of my pilot impression?
It's good. It's good. It's fine. It's very comforting.
Yeah,
I feel
good.
like you're gonna guide me safely to my destination without an explosion.
If you couldn't tell, today we're talking about Disney planes.
Finally.
No. Today we are talking about Epcot's World Showcase. I was trying to work a travel thing in, so of course I thought airplanes. But
I gotta start reading the episodes before we get on.
I mean, we've already done the best planes pitch that we can. So
Right,
I don't
that
think
can't
we have
be
to
beat.
revisit that.
Brock, that was an amazing planes
Thank
pitch
you.
idea.
Thank you. But I think if you'll recall, that was Planes, Fire, and Rescue.
Right, of course. For anybody who missed that episode, make sure you go check out our Destroy Space Mountain episode. That was not the winner, but it was still a lot of fun to talk about.
No.
It didn't win because it showed too much promise.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it didn't win because it was significantly the best pitch out of, all of them.
I'd like to give our listeners a heads up before we begin. I've currently got two things going on right now. One is my microphone is picking me up very, very, very quietly, and I don't know why or how. And the second thing is I just got my second dose of the Pfizer COVID vaccine yesterday, so I am feeling weird.
Get that Fauci ouchie.
Weirder.
Yeah, no, that's true. That
And get that COVID passport so you can see all the pavilions of the world.
Yes. So back to what the episode is about. Today, we are each proposing a new country for World Showcase. What country would we like to see be a new pavilion?
And we're not saying, inventing our own country. We're taking a real country.
Right, a real country that we're proposing. So let's take a quick sec here to explain what World Showcase is to any of our listeners who may not have been to Epcot. Who wants to take it away?
So World Showcase is a place to get trashed walking around the world with your friends, day drinking all day in the hot Orlando heat. I think that pretty much sums it up. Am I right, Jake?
I mean, yeah, in the most basic of terms, that is not wrong. That is not wrong. So World Showcase is a section of Epcot where it has been divided into subsections, and each of the little subsections represents a country from around the world, and it is portrayed in the architecture and the food stylings and the music and the shows,
and the fact that
some
that
of
is
them
what
have
they
rides. Yeah, and they call it World Showcase.
it's different pavilions.
Does anybody know offhand how many countries are currently in the World Showcase Pavilion?
I thought 12.
11.
But it's 11, says Eric, so I'm going to trust him.
It could be 12. I mean, when I was doing my research to make sure that I chose one that was not already in there, it said 11, but I guess that could be...
No, I'm going to...
Yeah, so according to this, there is 11 official pavilions, but then there is also sometimes some pop-up pavilions that are basically just carts that they stick in between the other pavilions.
That especially happens at the Food and Wine Festival, which, if you ever get the chance, it's super great. I had this cool sausage sandwich in Germany that I still think about to this day.
In the German pavilion, not in Germany.
Oh,
Right, in the German pavilion,
Eric,
yes.
I don't see the difference.
You were just hanging out in Munich being like, wow, this is very reminiscent of the Epcot showcase.
So we're starting at the beginning of World Showcase and working around clockwise order. The countries there are Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy, the United States, Japan, Morocco, France, the United Kingdom, and Canada. Those are the countries.
You start with a margarita and with an ale.
Right. It is a known fact that Disney has left some openings in between these countries. If you look at a map, you can see that there's some gaps where they had intended to add more countries eventually one day. And Epcot has now been open for 40 years, and they have yet to add any more countries. So today we are going to propose which countries we would like to see potentially be added in the future. How you feeling about your pitches, boys?
Not bad.
Me, good. As good as I
Me
ever do.
good. Me feel good.
I mean, I haven't won in 9 episodes. I don't feel good. I don't ever feel good anymore coming in.
Eric, it's nothing against you.
Eric, I know you
really
feel bad,
isn't.
but you and I have the same amount of wins, so
That's
we're in the
true.
same boat, brother. It's just I have good ideas, so it really hurts. That was a joke, Eric. Your ideas are phenomenal, and I love you as a person and a friend.
Brock
was
can
the
already
first
sense
mean person
the
of the
way he just
episode.
gave us a pass to smack him down, even though he's sick, and he's trying to backtrack now.
No, well, yeah, I mean, because you guys are allowed to say 38 things about me for every half of one I say to you, so.
Well, let's just say this. I come into every episode feeling about as good as Brock does on a daily basis about his own existence.
You know, I don't even feel insulted. That's accurate.
Yeah, honestly, like, I think this is an exciting one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, so who's pitching first?
Today's first pitcher is going to be our sicky boy himself, Mr. Brock
Hey,
Gabbard.
I'm the sicky boy.
Sicky nar nar.
Sicky.
Hell yeah.
Tanner coined that
yeah.
phrase, I think, freshman year, which means I've been living with it for, 7 years now?
You're welcome.
Thanks, friend. Okay, so we've talked before about how odd it is that with Animal Kingdom and the World Showcase, the idea of which that they cover different parts of the world, there is no representation of South America, which is such a bright, vibrant, really interesting part of the world that I feel it's wild that it isn't represented anywhere within Disney World. So what I would like to do is take a look back within the Disney tradition of Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros. I want to take a look at Brazil. I think Brazil would be a really interesting pavilion. It'd be bright and vibrant and interesting. I know I keep saying the word interesting, but I've run out of words because I'm sweating them all out. So I picture the Brazil pavilion looking like Rio de Janeiro, but specifically during Carnival. So it's this constant, interesting...
Can we get away with that in a Disney park?
Well, there's PG parts of Carnival.
Okay.
It's not Mardi Gras, it's Carnival.
I know, but still,
Yeah,
the
no,
outfits
yeah.
seem a little...
Well,
There's a lot of shirtlessness in Carnival.
there
Yeah.
won't be here.
Boo, you've
Okay.
lost me.
Or there will be, man, I don't know.
everybody wears a Speedo.
But I'd like to do a couple of what they call in the theme park industry carrots, which are places, interesting set pieces or something that you can see in the distance but you can't actually reach. That's what they do with the Eiffel Tower in the French pavilion. I think, an interesting carrot of the Christ the Redeemer statue, and also the Sugarloaf Mountain, which is a famous landmark for Rio de Janeiro. And the Sugarloaf Mountain famously has a cable car that goes up and around and explores the area around the mountain. So that inspired me. I'd like to do a ride based on that cable car. It would be a nighttime journey over the city and surrounding nature. And it would use something a lot like the scene in Peter Pan's Flight with where you're flying over London, mixed with some complex projection mapping. So you're flying over Carnival, you see fireworks, you see the floats, you fly around, you get to visit some of the nature. And since it's going to kind of be like a magic cable car, so it can go all over the area.
Neat.
And finally, I thought it'd be really interesting to include a Brazilian cuisine counter service restaurant, because a lot of when I was doing a very, very, very limited amount of research for this morning, I discovered that a lot of uniquely Brazilian stuff is smaller, almost snack type meals, because Brazilian cuisine has influences from all over the world. So it kind of creates some really interesting combination type meals, as well as some traditional ones. So that's my pitch. Brazil, I'd like to see y'all there.
Nice.
Have you ever been to a Brazilian meat fountain restaurant?
No.
So they literally just come and bring you meat the whole time. Just like non-stop plates every like 7 minutes of just steaks and just everything.
Okay, I'm changing my pitch. I want that to be the restaurant.
Dear God.
I was gonna say
God.
when you started talking, that's what I thought of, and I was like, oh, that'd be a good deal of a restaurant.
Yeah, no, I was actually not familiar with that, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
There's one in Chicago. We're going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, we are. Now that we're all vaccinated, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Road trip.
All right, next up we have me. It's my pitch. So, for my country, there have been rumors of this hitting the parks every once in a while. It's never actually come to fruition, but I think it's a great addition. It is the world's second most populous country. It is India. And so the Taj Mahal would be our backdrop of the setting. And the majority of the pavilion would be sort of like the streets of New Delhi or any, and that kind of metroplex. A lot of vendor-based things like, meat or food carts, jewelry, things like that you would find on the street. And that would be the majority of like the food. I don't imagine like a sit-down restaurant, particularly as part of this. And then the Taj Mahal itself, I would love to have some kind of walkthrough attraction. And also I would like it to house a theater, in which, so back in the day they did like a junior version of the Broadway version of Aladdin at this theater in DCA. I think bringing that, maybe not exactly that show, maybe even like the more fully realized Broadway version, to the stage there in the Taj Mahal, I think would be a really cool experience. So that's my pitch for India. I know Aladdin, in Agrabah is sort of, it's not necessarily specific to India, but the palace in the movie has a lot of aesthetic similarities to the Taj Mahal, and a lot of them you can kind of tell that exists within that part of southern Asia or northern Asia.
Yeah. Another Disney film that does take place in India, though, specifically, is Jungle Book.
Jungle Book,
yeah.
And that, I think that would be, I could see like the shows rotating. I don't see necessarily the plaza itself having like a ton of nature or foliage to work that in. Right. But I think there could be a Jungle Book performance absolutely in that theater.
Yeah.
I think both work just fine.
When I might have missed it, but when you were talking about the Taj Mahal being the centerpiece, did you say you wanted to have the reflecting pools? Like the real
I did not
Taj
mention
Mahal?
it, but that would be obviously part of it.
Okay, cool.
It would be like, so there would be the carts and stuff that you could buy food and jewelry and stuff into the reflecting pools into the walkable Taj Mahal.
I like it. Very cool.
Thank you. Next up we have Mr. Tanner Costan.
All right. So for my new pavilion, I am pitching an Australia pavilion. Brock was talking earlier about how crazy it is we don't have any South American representation in the parks. We also don't have any representation of the country/continent of Australia. So I'm thinking for the centerpiece of my area, we will have the Sydney Opera House, and I thought it would be awesome to, kind of similarly to what Eric's thinking, I wanted it to house performances in there of like live musicians, which a lot of the different pavilions do. There's like rock bands in the UK pavilion. There's all sorts of different interesting ones. So bringing in orchestras for performances there, I thought would be really fun. That could even be very similar to what we talked about with Jake's park way back when, a thing where you can also just buy tickets to go see like performances there was something we had talked about with your art park. Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay.
As far as rides, we talked about this kind of being a good location for the exit to another Jake pitch, the Finding Nemo coaster through the Eastern Australia EAC. I wanted to say the ECA. This would also be a cool place for something similar to the Outback ride I've pitched before, with or without the bunyip. Can go either way, or a cool coral reef ride. But that's something that's very similar to a lot of what's going on in the water pavilion already. As far as my restaurant, I initially thought of my half Outback, half Coral Reef restaurant, but that's too similar to the restaurant that's already there with the aquarium. So I wanted to do a beach-themed kind of tiki bar-esque restaurant where you'd be sitting at different table cabanas, like we're on the beaches of Sydney, just where we could have like cool effects of like breeze and beach sounds, and all the waiters would be dressed like they were at the beach, and we could have projections on the walls of like seeing ships go by as the ocean comes in and out, sand all around. I thought that'd be awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, then like of course some of your like Australian foods. I have some examples, but I won't list them all here. That's my pitch.
They put eggs on their pizza. We could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like this cake that they have, but that's good too.
I don't think it is good too, Tanner. I don't think it is good too.
I was gonna say like these different types of like roasted lamb and fish, but if you want egg pizza, we can do that.
Just covered in Vegemite too.
Yeah.
Tasty. All right, Jake, bring us home.
All right, so for my pitch, I have decided that I want to go to the Mediterranean. I'm going to go with a pavilion that I think is this country is culturally significant, especially in their ancient history. I'm going with Greece. And I would like to see it. I know we've kind of covered some Greece-related things in the past, like with Brock's awesome Santorini hotel. And I would like to kind of steal some ideas from that, which is I would like it to look like Santorini. I think that is really visually sticks out. Plus, it's the colors of the Greek flag. You know, it's blue and white, and the Santorini buildings are white buildings with that stunning blue roof. And I would also like to include some of the ancient Greek buildings, like maybe the Parthenon or the Temple of Hephaestus, some stuff that really is iconic when you're thinking about Greece architecture. And I would like to have a restaurant. I'm thinking it would be a sit-down restaurant. And I think kind of like the Mexico Pavilion, it would be a restaurant where you're inside, but it looks like you're outside. And I think it would be really cool if it felt like you were sitting on the balcony of Santorini, looking out over the Amalfi Bay at nighttime. And then you would have your classic Greek foods like gyros and saganaki and all that great stuff. And I also thought it might be good to have a little counter service thing outside, and maybe there's some balconies outside that actually look over the park, and you can sit out there and enjoy your food if you just stop by the quick counter service.
A gyro would be good for that.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I also thought this could be a good place for our Hercules ride that we came up with in our episode entitled Hercules. And then the final thing that I thought you guys might be into, and you guys would have to help me with, because I think you guys know all about this and I don't so much, would be I would like to include a small version of the ancient amphitheater of Epidaurus. Sorry, I'm slaughtering these pronunciations. It was that famous amphitheater in ancient Greece. And I think that'd be a cool place where they could put on shows. Maybe they could have bands there from time to time, but it would also be fun to have some classic tragedy and comedy Greek theater type stuff going on. Now, the tragedy.
When Oedipus realized what he had done, he tore his eyes out with a hairpin.
I'm thinking
so
that
you're saying we have a carnival pitch and a festival of Dionysus pitch.
Yes.
This is the most debauched debased thing we've ever.
Speaking of debauch and debased,
from the Gabberts, no less.
Tanner is pitching a pavilion full of Australians. Speaking of debauched and debased.
So the last thing I was going to say was regarding the tragedy and comedy theater. Obviously, in a Disney styling, I think they would both be comedic. It's just the tragedy one would have some like some mock sad things like, "Oh no, I dropped my gyro" or something like that. You know, ridiculous. But that's my pitch.
That feels offensive.
I say we lean into it. We watch Medea murder her children.
Yeah.
But like it's all like the big Disney characters like Mickey and Minnie and stuff. They play the roles, so it's all right. So like it's Goofy gouging his eyes out.
Oh,
yeah.
Because he slept with his mother.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Daisy killing Huey, Dewey, and Louie to spite Donald.
Yeah.
All right,
Jake. I know what you're saying.
Thank you.
I'm
Eric.
tracking with you. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, but we just don't often get the chance to make jokes about ancient Greek tragedies.
As soon as I was researching this, I was like, Brock is going to make an Oedipus reference.
Why wouldn't
immediately. Considering that you reference Oedipus on a daily basis in your everyday life.
Wait, what?
You reference Oedipus all the time.
Do I?
Yes.
I was going to be like, guys, Robin listens to this.
What the? This is not something I was aware of.
Brock doesn't
Don't deny it.
He lives it.
Well, hey! Whoa!
Oh my god.
All right.
Although, for everyone out there, listen to the Tom Lehrer song Oedipus Rex.
Happy Mother's Day episode.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God, it is Mother's Day. Or it was yesterday. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, so Oedipus aside, great job on the pitches, guys. I think these are all really good ideas.
I agree.
This is
like them all.
Cool.
Oh,
all right, so let's get to the Q&A section.
Who's got some cues?
I had some.
This is a tough one. Go ahead.
No, I had some, but I forgot to write them down.
I was just going to... This is a tough one for questions for me just because, like, the nature of it, I almost don't want to delve too much further in because I want to talk about everything.
Yeah.
That's just...
and not only that, but I think each of us did a pretty good job of descriptions. I felt like I could vividly kind of picture each of these places. You know, I didn't feel confused or anything about anybody.
I will say, I think, and this is not a slight on any of us, I think it's kind of a strength. We picked, like, the 4 most obvious ones to me. Like, these are the 4 countries that Epcot is sorely missing. Yeah. Like, it kind of doesn't feel like it's the World Showcase without these countries, to me.
Right.
So, Tanner, quick question for historical accuracy. If you commit crimes in the United Kingdom section of Epcot, do you get banished to the Australian section of Epcot?
100%. We actually have a room that's just like a hot desert simulation as well. And like we just escort any ne'er-do-wells straight in there, and we don't even offer them water or anything because this is Australia. And they have to fight a kangaroo that gets released once an hour.
Oh, actually, that does lead me to a question. Do you plan on addressing the Great Emu War at all in your pavilion?
No.
I mean, between mine and Tanner's pitches, we're making a really strong statement against English imperialism.
That is true.
I was kind of getting that feeling.
That is true.
That's what I was really going for. I tried to be subtle in my description. But
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. I don't actually think I have any questions personally. How about y'all?
I'm straight up. I'm ready to vote.
I have one for Jake, just because we give Brock a hard time. Do you feel a little guilty stealing a lot of Brock's idea when we shit on him all the time for it?
That is true. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I personally purposely didn't pick Greece because so far I've done like 6 Greek-related pitches, and I didn't want to be that guy. Like,
you don't want to be the Greek guy?
No, just recycling all my old ideas, guys. So I'm glad someone else is recycling all my old ideas.
I mean, it doesn't have to look like Santorini. We can make it look like something else. But I just
genuinely think that's cool. I think that's really cool.
Will you have a Minotaur maze?
I mean, we could if you really want one.
That's all I want.
Will you have a Midas experience where if you touch anything, it turns to gold, including your own junk?
Obviously. Why wouldn't we have that?
I think
good.
there's a story that tells you why you shouldn't have that.
So, okay, serious question, Jake.
Yeah.
In your Greece, will Zeus actually be represented correctly as the horn dog mass murderer that he is?
I mean, that's the thing with World Showcase. That gets a little tricky because it's nice to have historically accurate things in World Showcase, right? But in modern day, Disney seems like they're kind of more like, screw that, we're sticking with the Disney version. For example, in Norway, where they took one of my absolute favorite rides at Disney World, which was Maelstrom. I know it was weird, but that's why I liked it. And they turned it into fucking Frozen Adventure or whatever.
Which I hear is a great ride, but I miss Maelstrom.
I hear it's a great ride, but I think it was a travesty to take away a ride that was supposed to be representative of that country's culture and instead shoehorn fucking Frozen in like they do with every other thing
specifically in the movie, not Norway.
Right. So that being said, to answer your question, I think we would probably end up sticking. For the most part, I don't know that it would be super addressed. We wouldn't be delving into these myths per se, but were the Greek gods to make any sort of appearance, they would be the Hercules versions of the Greek gods.
So if you like built the Parthenon, the statues would be like the sort of more cartoony representations.
Right. Oh, and then I this kind of goes without saying, but obviously this would then be a great place to have character meet and greets for the Hercules characters, which you don't really see in the park anymore.
And the Grease characters, Danny and Sandy.
I was waiting for somebody to make a Grease reference. I was waiting for it.
Tell me about it,
Beautifully done.
That's a showcase I would go to. Just
the Grease Pavilion.
Grease.
Well, it's Grease Lightning.
That song is filthy.
Yeah, it is.
So we all did filthy pitches this week.
Apparently.
Yeah, good.
I am the only one who didn't. By the way,
that is surprising.
That's weird.
Brock's just racist towards Australian people. To be fair,
I love Australian people. Almost all the podcasts I listen to are Australian.
Great, prove it. You're up first voting.
Oh man. Now if I don't vote for Tanner's, you're gonna say I'm racist. But I am actually gonna vote for Jake's.
Okay, racist.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, person who wants to talk about his ideas that he's had in the past.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I just have new ideas to add to my old ideas.
Good ideas to the table.
Very connected.
I can't put my finger on it, but I like it.
No, I can put my finger on it. I know where it is. I know exactly why.
I didn't steal his whole idea.
No, but it's just, it combines some of my ideas with some new ideas, and I want to talk about some other ideas that we can add.
Also, I admitted that it was from Brock's idea. I didn't just pitch it and pretend it was an original thing.
That's why we didn't have to knock you so hard.
that's what
Right.
completely skewer you. Right? Like,
Okay, gotcha.
Just need to make sure you felt just like a little bit like a dick, and then
I did not pretend it was original in an original thing because I just forgot about the first one.
We're not talking about you anymore, Jake. It's time to vote.
All right, so this is super hard. I am super into all four of these countries. Honestly, I want to bring them back on the losers back on, not even that. They're not losers, just the ones that we don't talk about today. I'd like to bring them back in other episodes to discuss because they all seem like really good ideas. Shut up, Brock.
No, it's funny.
But I think the one that was intriguing to me as kind of an exotic place to visit, I'm going to vote for Eric's Indian pitch.
Cool. Thank you. It's me next. This is tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough. It's hard. Right? I know we say that about a lot of votes, but it's usually between two. If we're being
it's not all four.
Being straight up, it's not like all four of them. But this one is. They're all fantastic. I think I am going to, and this. It's so tough because just to give you where my head's at with Greece, I feel like generally Western Europe in that kind of section is better represented than other things. So between South America, which has none, and Australia, there's so the need is so strong for both of them. It's really hard. But I am going to go with Brazil. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think, we talk about the color palette and the life of Rio de Janeiro. It's appealing to me.
All right, to our Australian listeners, I'm calling on you now to attack the three other members of this podcast. You heard what kind of dangerous criminals they think you are. Now it's time to show them.
Australia is like my favorite place.
And saddle up on kangaroo and murder my co-hosts.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you're racist
too. All right.
Unleash all of your Tasmanian devils.
This is hard. I really like all of them. For a lot of the same reasons, I think I have to rule out Greece. Just because I think that's kind of like what I see there, I see in a lot of the different pavilions. I really like this cable car ride. So I think I have to go Brazil.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. I do have a problem with the Brazil idea, but I'll address that when we start talking about it.
All right.
Yeah, I have lots of problems with it, and I'll address them as well.
All right. I'm fine with that because I'm not a little baby. So, what do we want us to talk about first?
The meat factory.
All right. Yeah.
We need the meat.
By the way, congratulations, Brock.
Thank
I don't
you.
know if anybody said it. Congratulations.
Yeah, also congratulations, but let's talk about getting this meat.
Yeah. Congratulations, Brock, on no longer being tied for last in wins.
Woo. That just means you're due, man.
Oh, Eric, it was hard between the two, but a meat fountain?
I know. Bro, I voted for Brazil. I get it. I am not mad.
All right, Eric, could you explain this meat fountain idea a little better?
So it's you're literally you're sitting at this giant bar table. They also have regular tables. You pay it's exorbitantly expensive. It's $60 or $70 per person.
So in Disney money, it would be $300 per person.
Yeah, you're probably looking, if you're actually putting on a Disney place, at least 100, 125. And it's almost impossible to describe other than they just constantly, there's constant meat. just so you start off with steaks, and then you have like kebabs full of lamb, and then chicken, and then pork, and then it's just, and they're there like seriously like clockwork, like every 5 to 7 minutes, just have a plate, dump the meat on it, and go. It's insane.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but I believe a lot of places they give you a card with green and red on it, and as long as you keep your card on green, they'll bring you as much meat as you can eat.
Yeah, you have like an indicator that says if I'm still good to go.
Meet
and
me,
they will
baby.
Just cart. Yeah.
I have 2 questions about the meat system. First of all, so my understanding is it's kind of just like when you go to a restaurant and they have like endless fries or endless breadsticks. It's kind of like that, but with meat, right?
I mean, yes, yes. No, well, you don't ask for the meat. It just comes to you.
It just comes to you.
Yeah,
okay.
the card is
you're
asking. You don't need to keep asking for more meat. They'll bring out different types of meat, too, so it's not just like fries.
Okay.
So then my second question is it just meat? Or do you get like a salad or a potato, or like, as somebody with stomach problems, eating nothing but pounds of meat just sounds like a bad experience in the Orlando heat.
You can order side dishes for sure, but they are not going to come on the meat cart.
Okay. Well, all of that, so that is the way it is, but we're pitching it for a family theme park. So it doesn't have to be totally accurate. So I'm thinking this is more of the high-end restaurant, like a Le Cellier, some of the other, the French restaurant, the restaurants in Epcot that are higher end. So we make this a high-end restaurant where I think the meat, the all-you-can-eat meat thing is just an option, something that you can order. The rest of it is a regular restaurant. I think, that's probably the big thing, but I think
Is it too late to retract my vote?
I just think we need
I do kind of like the idea, though, Brock, of them just, like, bringing the meat. Like, maybe it's not as extreme as just, like, every 5 minutes, but, like, if that was kind of the thing, like, they bring it out and just set it on your table, and you can order the other things.
Talking about it. They are bringing like kebabs and stuff.
I agree. I think that's awesome how they just bring out the meat. But like Eric said, there's like a card, or we could do like a little flag so the people who ordered that put that up, and they just keep bringing them out the meat.
When you're done, you wave a white flag,
or a light or something. But that way, the people who ordered it are always getting brought out the meat. It's still that genuine experience. But also, little Timmy doesn't have options. He can get mac and cheese instead.
In Whispering Canyon, before COVID, they had that thing where they would make your whole table stand up and scream ketchup, and then somebody from the other table would have to run over and bring you all of the ketchup bottles. Can we implement that? But you have to stand up and shout meat, and then just like,
and the whole wait staff just like
charges you with plates of meat.
Well, that's an option.
That would be awesome.
I'd like to implement that system in my house. It's like meat.
But no, so I think that's cool. I think we've got a nice restaurant. I still like the counter service idea with like Brazilian snacks, but a lot of these pavilions have both.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And there's yeah.
Okay, so what else, Brockles?
Well.
So we have the cable car thing going on. Tell us like how that's placed, how you want that to work. Where do we?
It's going to be a dark ride, much like Maelstrom is a big inspiration for this. So it's going to be a dark ride, much like Maelstrom. You go into a building, you go in a queue, you get on a ride. Duh. But that's I pictured. So
thanks for that.
This is the Sugarloaf Mountain cable car. I'm picturing some sort of like magical cable car experience. We don't need like Tinkerbell or anything, but the idea is that this is a cable car that can explore all of Rio. So I was thinking we have the Sugarloaf Mountain behind with the cable car in the background as a sort of carrot for the land. And then as you're going into the building, so it kind of feels like you're walking over to it.
So I'm looking up the Sugarloaf Mountain right now. For anybody who has not seen it, I would advise you do the same because it is pretty iconic looking. It's like this big lump.
Yeah, it looks like
that sticks
it looks
up
like
out
a loaf of bread that's like
green.
half sunk into the ground. It's big.
I preferred my word, Brock. Lump.
I would just classify it as looking a bit like a sugar loaf.
No, I like lump.
But anyway, yeah.
For some reason,
look it up. It's cool.
I'm just
looking.
thinking about the Arrested Development TV show Sugarfoot.
Wow.
So
what a deep cut.
Yeah.
Wait, and wasn't Sugarfoot's was the name of the steakhouse and barbecue place on King of the Hill too?
Oh my God.
Conspiracy.
Meant to be. Is this cable car ride inside or outside? I know you're saying that the cable cars will look like there's like
it is indoors. It is meant to look like it is outdoors. So the way the way I picture the ride is we leave the city heading up to the mountain, perhaps in the daytime, perhaps at dawn. So we go above a little miniature of the city, we go to the mountain. As we climb up to the mountain, we kind of start cutting through trees. So we see wildlife right next to us, animatronics of like, tropical birds, big cats that they have in South America. So we see all that kind of the flora and fauna right outside the window. We head up to the top of the mountain as the sun is setting. So we see a sunset over the mountain. And then we head back down over Rio during Carnival at night.
Nice.
And that would be, one of the...
Maybe see like little fireworks going off beneath you somehow. Like that would be really cool.
Yeah, I did mention that earlier. But yeah, no, like little... You're above fireworks and you can see the giant floats heading through the miniature streets. So you can kind of see Carnival happening beneath you.
This would any listeners out there who have access to Disney Plus, send us money. You could check out the new Mickey Mouse shorts. They do one that takes place at Carnival, it's pretty cute. And Brock, maybe you could draw some inspiration for your ride from that episode.
That would be great if I had seen that episode.
Visuals. Oh, all right. Well. But I guess what I was trying to say was it's a good Disney cartoony version of Carnival that's still like family friendly and like, it's the Disney version of Carnival. And I think it worked well just to enforce this idea.
That it has to be family friendly Carnival.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Does anyone else have any ideas about this ride?
I like it. It reminds me a lot philosophically of like soaring over whatever they're soaring over now.
That's what I was thinking. A little bit of that, except having it be practical seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right. So, what do you mean by practical? Like just like the ride?
Yeah, where it's animatronics and you aren't just looking at a screen.
Right, yeah, I guess.
So, I wanted to ask you guys about the ride vehicle, because the cable car is it's a large, like, glass room that you can stand in. I wanted to do something that looked similar to that, but I wasn't sure exactly how to make that work. What do you guys think?
I mean, if you're not thinking it needs to be like a super crazy ride, if it was just moving slowly,
it's like a maelstrom tone and pacing, just a chill, fun.
Oh, well then, yeah, you would need to be buckled in to something.
Yeah.
You'd have to be seated.
Yeah, of course.
No,
but I'm saying, how do you guys how do you guys think it should work? How do you think it should look?
I mean, maybe it could essentially look just like a regular cable car, but you add seats, and maybe it doesn't actually have glass. Maybe it's just open where the glass would be. And then that way you can incorporate like gentle breezes and like the smell of food cooking or the smell of,
I like that.
The wild animals.
Adding the kind of 4D elements.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, too, and this is like a small thing, but just I'm thinking about how many little kids would go on this and get their smudgy little face prints and fingerprints all over the glass, and then you get on the ride and you have that to deal with.
But, I mean, the glass almost, like, it makes everything outside of the glass feel more fake. And, you want to be experiencing this. So if if there's that extra level of separation, I feel like it kind of lose the charm of the ride.
Absolutely.
I gotcha.
So yeah,
Okay,
I think
cool.
we could do just kind of a standard ride vehicle. I like the idea of it hanging from above, like in Peter Pan's Flight.
Yeah, you could definitely make that look like a trolley.
Yeah,
or a
that we
cable
just
car
kind of
for
aesthetically.
How many people are you thinking in each vehicle? Because obviously the real cable cars are going to be like 20 to 40 people.
No, yeah, I'm thinking probably 6.
Okay, 6 or 8, something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
No, 20.
So I'm getting kind of like a It's a Small World meets Soaring Over the World kind of vibe. I like it.
With a little bit of the Peter Pan flying over London thrown in.
Yeah.
And the
I'm
Peter
feeling it.
Pan
Pretty
and
cool
Maelstrom
ride.
were
Arrows
my
boat
name.
ride with the fireworks in the night
Yeah.
sky. Pretty.
Yeah.
And this
It's pulling,
doesn't
like, from the best
necessarily
parts of a lot of cool stuff.
this doesn't necessarily need to be a ride that has like a complex story and then something goes wrong, or I'm fine with it being like a Small World or like the Three Caballeros.
A lot of
think-
those Epcot rides
that?
are kind of like, or were like that before Frozen
Yeah.
kind of changed over, where like there was some sort of, I guess Maelstrom had a little bit of conflict, but it wasn't really like a strong narrative story.
Right. No, it's just like
Yeah,
you're
it's
floating
very
through and you're looking at
educational and
things.
presentational, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
point.
I want
Yeah.
this to be a nice, calming experience where you're just viewing beautiful nature and like understanding the culture and just Rio. Rio is a gorgeous city. I can imagine, especially from above, it would look really incredible.
This ride sounds really appealing to me because it sounds like a great place to like sit and have a relaxing experience of just like you're relaxing and you're looking around and like, wow, this is really cool. I'm taking a load off my feet for a little bit. Like this just sounds like one of those kind of chill rides that I can really get behind.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're good on the ride then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Agreed.
so.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about the pavilion?
Well, I did when I said I had a problem. This was serious,
yeah.
and this is tough because you can't talk about Rio, which literally is the home to one of the wonders of the world, without bringing up Christ the Redeemer.
I was also
However,
thinking about that.
I am not happy with the idea of having a giant statue of Jesus Christ overlooking Epcot.
I agree.
I don't think Disney
or
would be either.
anywhere
from
in
a,
any Disney park.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
is-
think
want Jesus
Disney would
in my
either
Disney
from a
park.
marketing perspective.
That's why I came up with the second possibility of a carrot that would be the Sugarloaf Mountain. Because I thought we might have that issue.
Yeah,
And
you could have Christ the Redeemer as just like a flyby in the cable car.
that was
ride.
going to be the solution.
Just like
yeah.
maybe you see it silhouetted in the distance or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we still build a giant one in the park, but it's Mickey the Redeemer?
I
have
I
a
don't
giant
think anyone would
statue
have a
of
problem
Mickey.
with that.
Can he be
Walt
on
Disney
the
the
cross?
Redeemer.
Yeah, it's Walt Disney the Redeemer.
Bob Chapek,
Walt
the
Redeemer.
Redeemer.
No, that's where I draw the line.
Me too.
You can see the glint off of his bald head from miles away.
He doesn't get to be a Redeemer until he gives us all those actors that he promised in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, he's got a lot of redeeming to
Yeah.
do.
Considering he fired all the best Imagineers.
All the people.
Yeah.
Cool. No, so I totally agree. Another thing I was thinking about is, and this is a little obscure, it might not be terribly important, but I was thinking I'd like to address Jose Carioca, the character from Saludos Amigos and the Three Caballeros.
Yeah.
Who has
I love Jose.
a massive, because he's Brazilian, and he has a massive following in Brazil and Portugal because, he speaks Portuguese. He's kind of bigger than, a lot of, Donald Duck and Goofy over there. So I thought it'd be really fun to have, a meet and greet with him and the rest of the Three Caballeros. Jose Carioca is one of my favorite characters, but I just think that'd be really fun. Yes, Tanner.
So if we're going to do this in Brazil, what are we doing with the Mexico boat ride? Are we going to just have them both places? We want 2 Three Caballeros experiences?
Panchudo Pistoles is Mexican and Jose Carioca is Brazilian. So, kind of works.
I'm just saying 2 experiences to the Three Caballeros.
Tanner, I would make a 5th gate that is entirely Three Caballeros if I could. I want the Carmen Miranda
I would
dancing with
support that.
cactuses experience.
I would support that.
I support the meet and greet for the specifically Brazilian.
Yeah, this is
like icon.
Yeah,
this is me being very conservative and generous in my pitching of Three Caballeros.
No, I just want to do something with the boat ride then. Can we get a Coco ride? Can we get something new in Mexico too?
That's what Disney keeps saying, is they're going to get rid of the Three Caballero ride anyway, and then it keeps like falling apart, and they don't really seem like they're doing a lot to fix it.
Within the past month, they've replaced the animatronics of both Panchito and Jose with potted plants because they broke down and they had to take them out.
Yeah.
So they just put a potted plant where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Also,
to me, that's a sign that ride's leaving.
But yeah, no, I like it, but I think that ride could definitely be updated, do something else interesting.
No, I like it. I was just, like we said, potted plants over there.
Yeah. Or they could just fix the damn thing. Either way.
Well, clearly that's not in the cards.
But it has to be one or the other. They can't just keep it, and it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody needs to tell them that.
Chapek, do you want that Redeemer statue or not?
I think put the Redeemer statue in the ride as a flyby, but we take it out of the icon in the park. I like Sugarloaf Mountain as the icon. Yeah. And that's that.
Green-eyed lady looks so.
That's what I've been thinking the entire time, Jake. But the interesting thing about Rio is it has such a gorgeous geography and topography to it. So really having those mountains stretch above the Brazilian pavilion. That's fun.
So what else is going in your pavilion here, Brock? Or do you think we've pretty much covered our bases?
I've covered everything I brought up. Is there anything you guys think it's missing or that you'd like to add?
I mean, it sounds like a decent pavilion to me. I think this would be a pretty cool pavilion to have.
So where's the bar for the drinking around the...
Yeah, we need a bar.
Oh, yeah, drinks around the world.
Right.
I assume you looked
just
up...
4.5 years of sobriety, but we do need the bar.
It's
well, maybe that's Christ the Redeemer. You can have your communal wine, and then you can move on.
Yes, Brock, I assumed you looked up alcoholic beverages from Brazil as part of your research before coming in with a pitch. I know some of us prepared that far.
Yeah, I was already going to be pitching Ouzo from my Greek pavilion.
Okay, well, I'm looking it up now. The best known is Kachaka. Kachaka.
Describe it. Paint a word picture for us with your Kachaka.
I would describe it as a spicy, sweet, and fruity clear liquor distilled from fermented sugarcane juice, which must by law be produced in Brazil and contain alcohol by volume of 38 to 48%.
It's got the champagne thing going on.
Oh, man.
It's Brazil's most popular spirit.
Huh.
Fine, we're putting Kachaka in the parks.
Yeah, well, the final C has one of those little... It's like a C with the little squiggle under it. So I don't know what that is.
So how would you like me to pronounce it then, Brock? Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Brock didn't do his research.
Yeah, hang on. I found the Google thing playing it.
Kachaka.
Could everybody hear that?
Yeah,
Kachaka.
Kachaka.
Okay. Kachaka. All right, great. We're going to have some Kachaka in the parks.
Yeah, there we go.
Yay.
Sounds good. I think it's a great pavilion. I think it's the ride in particular sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool place to hang out, eat a lot of meat, and drink some Kachaka.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Plus now we have a South American presence in the Disney parks.
Yeah.
Finally. All right. Well, on that note, I think that takes us into everybody's favorite part of the podcast. Any guesses on what that might be?
The end. Brock announcing the names of everything. Oh, right, the lightning round.
Yeah, it's the lightning round. Let's spin that wheel of lightning. It's spinning around, it's spinning around, it's spinning around. Okay, today we are doing a log flume. It's been a little while since we've done a log flume. Log flume, of course, being the ride where you generally go It's water-based. You're floating in a boat, and it usually results in a big drop near the end. And this one is themed to Tangled.
Okay.
So we can give Tangled a presence in the park other than a bathroom.
It's a great bathroom, though.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
All right. You up first, team man.
All right, on this dark ride, we are going to be following Maximus on a journey as he's hunting criminals as the number one horse in the Royal Guard. So we're going to be riding along the river as he's looking for criminals, trying to plan and plot to steal from Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. We'll see all of our favorite characters, and eventually we will be with Maximus, run all of the villains off of a giant cliffside into a giant pool of water. The end.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, next up is me. Good. So we are going to be on a nice romantic date with Flynn Rider and Rapunzel as we're going through the waters in front of the castle in the town, and we get to see all of the cool candles and stuff as they lift up, and then we climb up and up and up a mountain and fall down a waterfall like Tanner's ended in also.
Well, it's a log flume. They're all going to end in a waterfall.
Well, yeah.
I just like the way Eric got there.
Yeah.
We go through the ride, and then we climb up, and we go down a waterfall. It's not connected to the story, but we do it.
It's like falling in love, get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Brock.
All right, so we are joining Flynn Rider as he tries to escape from the Stabbington brothers who've caught on to him. We are going to try to escape by boat, but they are hot on our tails. So Flynn Rider is trying to help us from off of the boat. He's trying to create obstacles that would get in their way, trying to make it so we diverge paths to try to save our lives. Eventually he does so, but the way he does it accidentally sends us down a giant waterfall. But at the end of the day, we are safe from the Stabbington brothers.
All right, nice.
Cool. You're up.
All right. So, for my pitch, I'm going to be basing it on the plot of the Disney short Tangled Ever After, where Pascal and Maximus are trying to find Rapunzel's wedding ring that has escaped, and they're chasing it through the town. And I believe, I can't remember, but I think there was a scene where a big cask of wine spills and kind of like floods through the streets, and that's going to be our ride. We're riding on various carts and stuff through the streets of the town, crashing down because the town shaped like this big hill, all the while seeing animatronics of Pascal and Maximus trying to hunt down the wedding ring, and in the end they find it and everybody's happy. That was 30 seconds.
I like it.
I was getting risky
like
at the
by far
end
the
there.
most cohesive of our picks.
Hey.
Yeah, yours was good too, Brock. And so was Tanner's.
Yes, those three were good.
Mine's cute. Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
I think that was a good lightning round. I think that was great pavilions from all four people. Brock, that was an awesome Brazilian pavilion idea.
Thank you.
Beautifully done all around.
Also, the more we can say the phrase Brazilian pavilion, the more happy I will be.
Brazilian pavilion. I tried to work it in one last time for you. So on that note, why don't you take us out of here?
All righty. Oh my gosh, what's that up on that carnival float, Jake? It's our Facebook.
Do you mean facebook.com/Main Street Musings? Did you like my carnival noise?
I loved that. Oh, look at those beautiful tropical birds of paradise, Tanner. They're sitting right atop our Instagram.
They are sitting right atop main_street_musings.
And what's that up on the hill, Eric? Oh my, it's Twitter the Redeemer.
I just want everybody to know that I'm wearing headphones and Jake's sound is ringing in my ears, probably for the rest of eternity. You can find us at MSM_podcast.
I am so sorry. I wasn't thinking about that.
And I'm Brock.
Okay.
Everyone, make sure to give us a 5-star review. Let all your friends know. Rate us, review us. Tell everybody you can possibly find Main Street Musings.
Man, we almost had a perfect episode except for Jake broke Eric's ears and killed the flow.
What?
Ow.